When Prince Harry walked onto the GMA stage that morning, he looked calm, polished, like a man used to controlling the narrative. He had done this before: royal interviews, confessions, apologies, all tied up in a bow. But this time, things felt different. Michael Strahan was not there to coddle. He was not there to play into the prince's hands. From the first question, there was tension. Real tension. You could see it in Harry's eyes, the way he blinked a little too long, smiled a little too wide. He was trying to stay ahead, but Strahan was not letting him breathe. And then it happened. A moment that flipped the entire conversation upside down. Michael Strahan leaned forward, dropped his voice, and asked the question Harry clearly did not expect. The studio went silent. Harry froze, and for the first time in a long time, the prince looked exposed. You could feel the crowd, the viewers, even the crew behind the cameras. It was not just an interview anymore, it was a reckoning. If you want raw, unfiltered moments like this, real drama, no scripts, then hit that subscribe button. These confrontations are not just stories, they are revelations. Prince Harry has been everywhere lately. From Oprah's couch to his best-selling memoir, he has not held back. He talked about the royal family, about trauma, about his mother. Then came Netflix, then the Spotify fallout. And all through it, Meghan by his side. His message was loud. He wanted the world to understand his story, his pain, and his reasons for leaving the palace behind. So when Good Morning America announced that Harry would be doing a live interview, people tuned in. Not just because it was Prince Harry, but because they wanted to see what he would say next. Would he clear the air? Would he double down? Or would he finally step back? The producers at GMA probably thought it would be just another interview, a polished piece, friendly, controlled. That is usually how these royal interviews go. But this one was different, because sitting across from Harry was Michael Strahan. Now, Strahan is not known for aggressive interviews. He is calm, steady. He listens, but when he asks a question, it cuts. He knows how to stay cool while making you sweat. And from the second Harry sat down, you could tell this was not going to be easy. Harry looked composed. He smiled. He gave all the right nods. But Strahan's tone was firm. He did not open with fluff. No questions about Meghan's dresses or the weather in Montecito. He went straight for the divide. The royal family, the fallout, the silence from William. Harry tried to steer the conversation. He kept talking about healing and private conversations. But the tension started to rise. You could feel it through the screen. This was not going to be the safe space Harry expected. Strahan was not attacking him, but he was not playing into the narrative either. He kept circling back. Why now? Why public? Why keep talking if you say you want peace? In the audience, they were not sure what to feel. A part of America had once embraced Harry. They cheered when he left the palace. They supported his break from tradition. But something had shifted. The sympathy was fading. People were listening, but not leaning in the way they once did. There was interest, sure, but less warmth, less belief. Michael Strahan sensed that. He was not just asking questions, he was reading the room. And from that moment on, the interview stopped feeling like a promotion. It started feeling like something else entirely, something heavier, something raw. And Prince Harry knew it. The lights were on, the set was quiet, just the hum of the studio, a few cameras clicking into place, and two men sitting across from each other. Harry looked composed, but there was a flicker in his eyes, something guarded. Michael Strahan smiled warmly, opened with a few easy questions, safe ones. How is fatherhood? How are you adjusting to American life? Harry answered politely, with short smiles and practiced calm, but something felt tight. His tone, even on soft questions, was clipped. A little too firm, like he was expecting a fight before it had even started. His body shifted. He sat back, then forward, adjusted his jacket, crossed his legs, then uncrossed them. Strahan leaned in, calm and smooth, but you could feel the shift. He had done this before. He knew when someone was on edge, and he was not going to let the tension slide by. The next question came quietly. Not an attack, just honest. You say you value privacy, yet you wrote a memoir that shares everything. You did Netflix, podcasts, and now this. Why? That was the moment everything changed. Harry blinked, his jaw tightened. He looked down for half a second, then straight at Strahan. I never asked for privacy, I asked for peace. Strahan did not flinch. But how can you find peace while staying in the spotlight? There was no more room for gentle answers. The mood cracked open. The audience was expecting a tidy sit-down, maybe even sympathy. Instead, they got heat, the kind that burns away the polished surface and reveals what lies underneath. Harry doubled down. He started naming names, called out press institutions, defended Meghan fiercely, called the tabloids toxic, said the royal family never protected them. He looked angry but also tired, like someone who had been carrying a story for too long. And now, finally, he had found a stage to tell it on. But Strahan was not backing down either. His questions were not cruel. They were clean, sharp, honest, and they cut deep. He asked about contradictions, about timing, about the impact on the monarchy. about whether Harry understood how some saw him as the very thing he said he hated. A media figure, the temperature kept rising, but both men stayed cool. No shouting, no drama, just two people sitting inches apart, asking and answering in ways that shook the room. And if you thought that was intense, stay tuned, because what happened next is the kind of raw, unfiltered truth that most networks would never dare to air. Subscribe now. You are going to want to see the rest. Prince Harry sat upright, but his shoulders were tight. His jaw worked as he searched for the right words. The studio lights caught the nervous flicker in his eyes. Strahan gave him a moment, waiting, almost inviting him to get comfortable. But Harry did not. His answers came quickly now. Too quickly. He shifted in his chair, then crossed his legs, then uncrossed them again. When asked about his time in the army, Harry tried to steer the conversation. He brought up mental health, talked about trauma, his duty, the public pressure. He said people never understood what it was like to grow up in his world. That this book was his way of finally owning his story. Strahan let him speak, then leaned in. You say, this is about healing, he said, but you also took aim at your family. You shared private texts. You called out your brother by name. Are you healing, or are you settling scores? The room went still. Harry hesitated, then said, I had to tell the truth. Strahan nodded slowly, but his eyes stayed locked on Harry. That might be fair, he said, but what about using trauma as a shield? You cannot keep bringing up pain just to avoid hard questions. That is not accountability. Harry looked stunned, and this was just the beginning. When Meghan's name came up, the tension cracked even wider. Strahan's tone sharpened. Every time, he said, it is what the media did to you, but never what you and Meghan did to the media. Why is that? Harry blinked. He opened his mouth, but the words did not come right away. Strahan kept going. You wanted privacy, but you chose Netflix. You wrote a tell-all. You went on Oprah. So who is really chasing who? And that line, that one. It started trending before the segment even ended. Viewers were already posting clips. One tweet read, Harry finally met someone who is not afraid to push back. Another said, this is not a roast. This is a reckoning. But the moment that really shook things, Strahan brought up Harry's comments about Afghanistan. You bragged about the number of kills. You made it sound like a video game. Strahan said, voice steady. Do you regret saying that now? Harry stammered, said he was trying to humanize the cost of war, said it was taken out of context. Strahan did not flinch. Or were you trying to sell books? Then came the family. Your father is king now. Your brother will be one day. Do you feel you betrayed them? Harry's voice dropped. He said he loved his family, but by then, the interview had turned. No one was talking about healing anymore. They were talking about damage. And this time, it was not the press holding the mirror. It was Michael Strahan. And Prince Harry was not ready for the reflection staring back. Prince Harry is sitting across from Michael Strahan. The room feels tight. The lights are hot. The cameras are rolling. Every second is being watched by millions. Harry is talking, trying to explain. He brings up freedom, the need to step back, the pressure from the crown. He says he wanted peace, a life away from the chaos. His voice is steady, but his hands say something else. There is a twitch, a shift in the seat, a glance to the floor. Then Strahan leans forward, no smile. No charm, just a question that cuts through everything. You left the monarchy for freedom, not to build a new one on Netflix. Silence. Harry freezes for a second. His lips part like he is about to speak, but nothing comes out. You can feel the shift in the room. The tension spikes. Strahan is not attacking. He is not yelling, but the weight of his words is heavy, controlled, surgical. Harry blinks, looks down, takes a breath. He tries to recover, talks about storytelling, talks about purpose, that people need to hear their truth, that the documentaries and the deals are just platforms. Strahan does not blink. Americans respect honesty, not PR rehearsals. Double quotes. Boom. It is quiet. There is no need to raise a voice when the truth is louder. GMA producers start cutting to commercial. The screen shifts, music rises, but just before the audio fades, Harry leans in and says something. A whisper off mic. No one hears it clearly, but the expression on Strahan's face does not change. The moment is not loud. There is no shouting, no walk-off. No dramatic meltdown. But it hits. Twitter explodes before the show even goes to break. Clips are posted within minutes. People start quoting the line, you left the monarchy for freedom, not to build a new one on Netflix. Some call it brutal. Others call it overdue. But no one denies the impact. This is not just an interview anymore. It is a moment, a line in the sand. For years, Harry and Meghan told their story on their terms. Now, someone is asking them to explain it without the filter. And Harry, he just met the mirror. The damage is not loud, it is slow, it is public, it is undeniable. The moment that clip hit the internet, it exploded. On Twitter, users replayed it frame by frame. Some zoomed in on Harry's reaction. Others posted edits of Strahan's delivery, calling it the cleanest mic drop in morning show history. The phrase, "you left the monarchy for freedom, not to build a new one on Netflix," became a meme within hours. Reddit threads blew up. People were not just mocking Harry, they were questioning everything. One top comment read, "This is what happens when PR becomes your personality." Others joked that Strahan should run for office. Across the Atlantic, British tabloids had a field day. Headlines screamed things like "Prince humbled on live TV" and "Harry loses the plot in America." It was brutal. But it was not just the press. On U.S. talk shows, the tone shifted too. Trevor Noah laughed through a segment, saying, "Even the NFL guy is tired of your fairy tale." The View debated whether Harry's image could recover. Late-night hosts turned it into stand-up material. But something else caught everyone's attention. Meghan was nowhere to be seen. No cutaways, no backstage glimpses, no hand-holding or shared glances. Just Harry, alone in the spotlight. Later, that day, their PR team released a short statement. It did not say much. Something about the couple remaining focused on their charitable goals. But it felt hollow, like damage control that missed the point. Piers Morgan could not resist. He went live that evening, calling Strahan a hero of common sense. He said, "Someone finally told Prince Privacy what the world has been thinking for years." Diana's former bodyguard weighed in too. He said Harry looked like a man who did not recognize his own reflection anymore. A former royal aide, who once worked at Kensington Palace, posted a long thread. She said, "That was the moment America turned on Harry, not because of what he said, but because of what he could not answer." And that was the deeper cut. It was not about drama or sides. It was about trust. For years, the Sussexes had been building a brand on truth, healing, and purpose. But when asked a simple question, Harry blinked, and Strahan, without raising his voice, stripped the whole thing down. The moment was quiet, but the echo was loud. By nightfall, even people who had once defended Harry began to ask hard questions. Where is this all going? Is it still about purpose or just publicity? Whatever the answer, the shift had started. Not in a palace, not in a tabloid, but on a Tuesday morning, live on air, in front of millions. Michael Strahan did not stick around for applause. He did not smile for cameras or bask in the moment. As soon as the cameras cut, he quietly left the stage. No cheers, no grand finale. Just a silent exit from a conversation that would echo far. Beyond that set, for years, people saw Strahan as the friendly face on their morning screens. The ex-NFL giant turned TV host, always grinning, always light-hearted. But this moment showed another side. One not often seen. Calm, strong, unshakable. He stood firm while Harry wobbled. He asked the right questions, gave space for the answers, and never once flinched. It was not about humiliation. It was about clarity, about holding someone accountable without cruelty, about truth, without turning it into theater. In that silence, after the interview, Strahan became something more, a kind of anchor, a steady voice in a storm of noise. Harry, on the other hand, looked smaller than ever, not just physically, but emotionally. His words stumbled, his points slipped. Where Strahan showed strength, Harry showed strain. And maybe that is the difference. Some men carry pain and rise through it. Others carry privilege and sink under it. Strahan's journey has never been easy. He took hits on the field, then hits in the media world, but he kept showing up, kept doing the work. And now, without shouting, without a headline grab, he gave America something rare. A moment of truth. Some men talk about courage. Others live it, and Michael Strahan. He did it live. Go back and rewatch that moment. The look on Harry's face, that was not embarrassment. That was realization. The kind that hits deeper than words. In that instant, he understood. This was not just about being out-talked or losing a debate. It was about being seen. Stripped of the titles, stripped of the spin, Michael Strahan did not need to raise his voice. He just stood in his truth. And that truth landed like a punch to the gut. That moment will live on. Not because it was flashy, but because it was real. It showed what happens when a man brings quiet strength into a noisy world. For more unscripted moments like this, where truth hits harder than fiction, do not forget to like, share, and hit that subscribe button. This is Unscripted Stories, where drama meets truth.